Welcome to District Dialogues. I am Marvin Arrington Jr., Fulton County Commissioner for District 5. District 5 encompasses the new city of South Fulton, Southwest and Southeast Atlanta, East Point, Union City, and College Park. Some of the great landmarks in District 5 are Zoo Atlanta, Fort McPherson, the new home to Tyler Perry Studio, the Porsche headquarters, Camp Creek Marketplace, and my favorite, the Wolf Creek Amphitheater. During this show, we hope to share information about organizations, initiatives, and resources in District 5 and in areas that I champion on behalf of Fulton County. So let's get straight to it. I am honored and proud to serve as an executive sponsor for safety in Fulton County and a member of the Justice and Public Safety Committee for the National Association of Counties, also known as NACO. In my Justice and Public Safety segment, we like to share information from our partners that provide resources and information about justice and public safety. So today, meet Mr. Michael Lewis. He's the Executive Director of the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation. Welcome to the show, Mr. Lucas.
Thank you, Commissioner. Pleasure to be here.
Well, so glad to have you here. If you will, tell us, what is the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation and what is its mission?
Sure. So our mission at Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation, or AVLF as it is known in the community, is to create safe and stable homes and families by inspiring attorneys to fight for justice. So what that really means is it's our full-time job to recruit and to train, to supervise, and hopefully inspire lawyers from our city's most powerful law firms, small firms, solo practitioners, to take on that work of fighting for justice of the citizens of District 5 and the rest of the county who can't afford an attorney.
And there's so many legal issues that people have, residents of Fulton County. How do you all decide which issues you will focus on?
Sure, you're absolutely right. And most days we wish we could take on everything, but we primarily focus on providing representation to tenants who can't afford it and to survivors of domestic violence. And how we chose those is, one, what do we think were kind of the most foundational issues of stability for a family. So if those things aren't going right in a home, it's going to be hard for a kid to learn, for someone to keep a job. And they're also the areas where a lawyer can make the most difference most easily.
So if I've got an issue with where my neighbor placed his fence, you guys aren't going to be able to help me.
No, you will likely call us, and that happens, and we're fine. We pride in actually ourselves in giving people good referrals to the right places, but we know we can only be impactful if we focus. And so, no, we wouldn't be right for that, but if your landlord won't repair your fence, and it's a safety issue for your kid, then we'd be the right people to call.
Can you talk more about your services to survivors of domestic violence?
Absolutely. So we're proud of this, in particular because it's a partnership with the county. We run the state's only courthouse-based, lawyer-staffed safe haven for survivors, and it's inside the Fulton County Courthouse. So everybody that comes seeking legal protection comes to an office that we run. We run it in partnership with Partnership Against Domestic Violence. But when a survivor comes there, they can not only get legal representation, but safety planning. We have a social worker that works for us full-time to address their other issues. And then when they've completed that process, and maybe they're ready to come back for a divorce or there's a custody issue, we provide top-flight lawyer for that as well.
And I understand you also have some partnership with area schools. Tell us about how you partner with the schools and in what issues and areas.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is really a focus of our housing work. So for decades, we've provided representation to tenants facing evictions or deplorable conditions. But what a lot of folks don't understand, I'm sure you see yourself, if a kid is living in a home where the mold is making them sick, so they've got more asthma and then more absenteeism, or they change schools once or twice in a school year, their chances of graduation drop. That neighborhood school is experiencing enrollment turnover that makes it hard for that school to turn around. And so what we started last year in one school, and it's expanding, is placing a full-time AVLF staff attorney and a full-time AVLF community advocate in a neighborhood and in a school that's really fighting for stability. Yeah. We still bring in those volunteer attorneys to take on those cases, but hopefully we can be part of turning that school around.
Well, I imagine being on the ground in the schools, it gives you a better idea of all the issues and puts you in a better position to be able to help solve them.
That's absolutely right. Being place-based is key, and it's a better place to go to work, too. My colleagues that are there get to be around kindergartners all day. I have to work around lawyers. You can imagine which one is more enjoyable.
I know that's right. So what advice would you give tenants who are in a dispute with their landlord?
Yeah, that's a great question. One is communicate. Keep communication going. We hate when sometimes an individual calls us and then the communication shuts off. The other is to document everything, even if your landlord wants you to request repairs in writing, and I mean by phone, do that, but then follow up, even in the form of a thank you letter, but document what has been promised. And then finally, don't just withhold your rent to try to get change. That's playing with fire under our laws in Georgia. I understand when there's frustration, but that is most often who we see across the street at the eviction court.
Yeah, it's hard when you get to court if you don't have a paper trail. And so sending emails and text messages, things that you can print out and bring to court,
That's right.
I'm sure will help those tenants in those situations. Otherwise, it's just he said, she said.
That's right. And you're right to raise text messages. People don't think that's admissible, but that is the most common form of communication with landlords, and it's great. Judges will look at that as well.
And whether our viewers are actually facing an eviction or in a domestic violence situation, why should they care, even if they're not facing those issues? How does this affect us overall as a society, as Fulton County?
Absolutely. Well, on one level, with domestic violence, even if it's not you, likely some point somebody you know. 1 in 4 women are exposed to it nationwide. So there's that. But this drags the whole community down. If you've got schools that can't turn around because there's 40, 50% enrollment turnover every year and our kids aren't learning, that's dragging down the whole city. If parents can't keep a job because they're being evicted or they're dealing with domestic violence, that's dragging down not just our school system, but the whole community.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Lucas, for being here and for all the great work that you and the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyer Foundation, AVLF, we thank you for all the work that you have done and will continue to do on behalf of the residents of Fulton County. When we come back, our arts and culture segment. Stay tuned. In addition to being an executive sponsor of public safety in Fulton County, I also serve as an executive sponsor of arts and culture. Externally, I serve as the vice chair of the Atlanta Fulton County Recreation Authority and a member of the Arts Commission for the National Association of Counties, or NACO. As such, I like to share with you arts and culture organizations and programs in Fulton County that are making a difference in our community. Today, please meet Casey Willis, the Executive Director of 7 Stages. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
How are you?
Doing well. We're so glad to
good.
have you.
Fantastic. Good to be here.
So tell us about 7 Stages and how long it's been in existence. And
Cool. 7 Stages has been in Atlanta since 1979. We're a performing arts theater. We do work that ranges from local playwrights here in Atlanta all the way to bringing in international work from Holland, from Israel. We do a lot. We do a lot.
well, I know I've always heard of 7 Stages, and I've been there for a couple of productions. I know you all always do a great job. But what makes or distinguishes 7 Stages from other theaters in Atlanta and Fulton County?
I would say the thing that distinguishes us is we understand that the type of work that we do can be a little uncomfortable at times, but we want to make people feel as comfortable with being uncomfortable as possible. So if you come see a tough show that's about race or about gender or just something that's non-linear, just crazy stuff going on, we want you to feel okay with that. So it's okay if it's some tough subject matter, come down anyway.
I like the way you say that. Make them feel comfortable about being uncomfortable.
That's the goal.
Well, that sounds like a great way. What types of plays should people expect in the upcoming season?
Ooh, well, speaking of which, our season opener is Bengal Tiger at the Baghdad Zoo, which takes place at the height of the 2003 Iraq invasion. So that's gonna be pretty heavy, but good work. We're going to do a new playwrights festival called the Homebrew Festival right after that. We're going to have a world premiere opera based on the Greek god Dionysus. We're going to have a work brought in from New Orleans with the Junebug Productions called Gomela, African Spoken Word Piece. And then we're going to close out the season with Curious Human Encounters. We're going to bring in voices from the community and collaborate with artists with new work.
Wow, sounds like a lot of good
going
programming. So what made you all decide to start out with the Bengal Tiger piece about the war? And, I know that can pull a lot of different emotions from people.
Absolutely. So what we're hoping, again, is the same concept of, with everything that's going on in our world right now, bringing people into a space to be able to vocalize and to see that, even though 2003 seems like it was long ago, a lot of the things that happened during that time are still affecting policies that are happening now, still affecting the way that people around the world, people here in America live. So we want to make sure that we're presenting a platform for people to be able to still discuss these things.
And why is it so important, or if you will, share with our audience why the arts are so important to the local community?
I feel like those of us who work in the arts are always answering that question for people. So what I really hope is that people in the community start to internalize that question for themselves and to ask themselves, what would Atlanta, what would Metro Atlanta, what would the world be without the arts, and why is it important to them? And hopefully we can help be a part of that. Come check us out.
Well, music and visual art and even theatrical plays, I think, are so important, and it helps expose different people to different cultures. And I think the more tolerance and the more exposure we have to different cultures, the better we all are. So next year will be your 40th anniversary. You guys planning anything special?
We are planning so many special things. It's just such an honor to be able to have been in the Atlanta community for 40 years. And shout out to the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, Fulton County Arts Council, because we couldn't have done it without you all of this time. So yes, we're having celebrations. We're looking to the past, looking to see how we're going to continue to push in the future. So stay tuned. Everything's coming, but next season is going to be incredibly special.
Well, we look forward to it. How can people that are watching today learn out more about Seven Stages Theater, your 40th anniversary, and all the great things that you all are doing?
Yes, so, the most simple way would be to buy a ticket, Bengal Tiger, September 14th. And you can also follow us on social media, come volunteer, just be open with us, be vocal with us. We love hearing feedback from the community, so.
And where can they go to buy tickets?
Yes, you can go to sevenstages.org.
So if you will, please share with our viewing audience how they can find out more information about Seven Stages Theater.
Sure, so you're always welcome to stop by anytime, whether we have a show going on or not. We love having people just come say hi to us. Follow us on social media. Come to one of our performances, of course. Come volunteer. To find out all that information, sevenstages.org will get you pretty much everything you need to know.
All right, sevenstages.org. Thank you so much, Ms. Casey Willis, Marketing Director, Seven Stages Theater. Thanks for being on the show today. We're so glad that you could take time to be with us and let us know about all the wonderful things that you all are doing. Thanks. We'll be back in a moment with our motivational moment. Thank you. As today's show comes to a close, we would like to receive words of inspiration and motivation from Minister Joshua Noblet of St. Mark United Methodist Church.
Hello, everybody. I'm Reverend Josh Noblet from St. Mark United Methodist Church. And one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot lately and being in conversation with my congregation about is this concept of Ubuntu, which is a concept that comes to us from African philosophy. And it says that I am because we are, and we are because I am. And the way that I think about that is that all of us are deeply connected to each other in our communities, all across the district, all across the metro Atlanta area. and that the actions that we take as individuals affect all of us, and all of us are the product of the environment that we live in. So what are some of the things that we can be doing with the words that we choose, the things that we think about, and the actions that we take to really benefit all of those folks that we come in contact with? Because it's like a ripple effect. Like the actions that I take, positive or negative, affect all those around us. So I want to encourage all of us to think together about how we can really embrace this concept of being a part of something bigger than ourselves.
As we conclude today's show, I want to make sure that you know how to stay connected with my office. You can reach me by phone, email, website, and through social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching District Dialogues. I'll see you next time.